The North Carolina General Assembly was compelled to take action in 1994. And you were sort of in the circle at that time, with CCA. Why do you think the General Assembly, in your opinion, took action in 1994?
I think it reflects directly upon the birth of CCA in North Carolina. I mean, a lot of people know the history of that organization, and was developed along the Gulf of Mexico, the coast of the Gulf of Mexico, and because of the same reasons that they became established here, and this exact same reason that the Fisheries Reform Act was passed and implemented, developed, passed and implemented. And that is because things had changed very drastically on our coast. It's well reflected in the landings history and the commercial landings history. If you look, things peaked in about 1980, 81, 82, and they were out of control. There were few regulations on the industry, and it was a heyday for the industry. They loved it, but they'll never see it like that again. And I think up until that point, Sarah, in my mind, there was no need for activist recreational anglers, because everybody that went to the beach or went to the coast, there were plenty of fish to be caught. Nobody moaned and groaned about it. You went around the gill nets in your boat, and you went and you fished, and you had a good day and caught some fish. And I think with that huge increase in landings from the commercial industry, anglers started seeing trips where they went, whoa, what's going on? I used to be able to come down here and catch X and Y and take what I wanted home or whatever. And it was changing quite a bit then. So anglers said, something's got to be done about this. I think what inspired the industry was, after those years of very, very high landings, management was struggling to try to keep up with activity in the industry, and started ratcheting down the industry, both on a federal level and not so much on the state level, but some. And so the industry started getting involved, was forced to get involved in that. So anyway, I think that's the impetus for the FRA, that there were some major changes in landing, and it affected people's activities and livelihoods, and realized that we couldn't keep going the way we had been forever.
Do you think there was a particular circumstance that led to the creation of the Moratorium Steering Committee, or just general circumstance? Was there like one key moment where it was like, now we're going to do the Moratorium Steering Committee?
No, I don't think there was one key moment. I think it was a kind of a snowball rolling downhill. CCA started out very, very small. Anglers' voices had never been at the table before, because they didn't need to be at the table. And here you got some new people that are saying, hey, there's something going on and we need to do something about it. People that the management, the Division of Marine Fisheries and the Marine Fisheries Commission had never heard from before, or heard very little from in the past. That's to my knowledge. So I think this new upstart organization and the conflict that they had directly with the commercial industry made some noise that was noticed by the politicians and the legislature and all of that, and the management agencies, and that's my opinion.
Do you think the various stakeholder groups were united in wanting passage of the Fisheries Reform Act? Why or why not?
I think there was consensus among most of the stakeholders that something needed to be done. I'll say many of the stakeholders that something needed to be done. I think there was pretty unanimous opinion from the recreational side of things that something needed to be done. And I think there were some enlightened members of the commercial industry that realized that something needed to be done as well. I think you're right, with the net ban in the early 70s in Florida, and in the 90s. I don't know. I can't remember the dates on that. But yes, there were fishermen from Florida. I remember mullet fishermen and new boats and people seeing them, and some of the fishermen in the industry felt threatened by this new participation, because anybody could get a license. The dealers didn't care. Mm-hmm. From my perspective, the dealers loved it. More fishermen, more fish. So that's where the bucking and the kicking and screaming came from as it generally does to this day from the dealers, the big dealers. But the fishermen themselves, lots of them were felt like, yeah, they didn't need this enhanced competition, and so they were willing to sit at the table and participate. Yeah.